You're listening to the Plain Talking UK podcast, the UK-based podcast written by a passenger for anyone. And here are your hosts, Carla Stebbings, Matt Smith and Neville Bounds.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 231 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carl Stebbings, and joining me in the kitchen studio again this week is my co-host Matt Smith.
I'm jolly glad we're inside, I have to be honest.
It's a bit chilly.
Well, not only that, but if you look out behind you...
Is it raining?
No, but if you look at the colour of the sky that is behind you, it looks a bit thunderstormy, so apologies in advance if we fall off live this afternoon. Nev, you were saying that it's turned a little unpleasant where you are.
Yes, I think it's just coming over towards where you are, actually.
Right,
so I'm
lovely.
Just sending it northeast from where I am.
You're very kind.
You should receive that weather in about 20 minutes.
Splendid, lovely. Yes,
and
good luck,
that is,
everyone.
of course, the voice of the legend that is Mr. Neville Bounds. How are you, Nev?
Hello, yes, fine, thank you very much. And I'm glad we were not flying in this weather compared to last week.
Yes, indeed.
But although the garden does need the water, I must say.
It does, yes, absolutely. Although the garden that I'm temporarily looking after, I could do without all the rain. It was much nicer and easier to deal with when it was... Because it's basically a blank patch that's awaiting planting. So actually, the rain means I keep having to weed it, which is most unacceptable. Still, first world problems, eh?
So it is the 24th of August. It's 7 minutes past 7.
That's because Matt was prattling around.
Friday
Yes, sorry
night.
about that.
And welcome to everyone who's joined us in the live chat room this evening. Loads of people in there tonight, all waiting for us to start tonight. So we've got Auntie Liz is in the chat room. We've got Alex Leons is in the chat room. We've got Lane Street. Mash is in the chat room. Jeff Braithwaite. Don Sebastian, a pre-buy guy, is in the chat room as well. Our main man, Micah Armando, is in the chat room as well. Just scrolling down. Owen is in the chat room tonight as well. Good evening to you, Owen. Tanya W, hello to you, Tanya. And Dr. Steph as well is also joined us in the chat room this evening. And also Neil Lanwarn. Hope things are going well at the Guppy with you, Neil, with all this hot sun. And now we've got rain, to be fair.
Right.
But there we go. It's been a nice summer. We have had a summer.
Yes,
So,
that's the one thing, of course, we can't say this year, is it, that we haven't had a summer? Because we really have. I mean, it was really quite hot for about a month, wasn't it? I mean, that's fair, I think. I think even Nev got a vague suntan.
Yeah, I did, yes. Last week there was a little bit of sunshine when it first came out, and actually quite warm, I thought, too. But yes, the weather was a bit variable, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was good, though.
It was good,
though.
yeah. So last weekend then, those of you will probably know, we had our first of our flying barbecues ever for the show at Seething, and we had a fantastic weekend. Thoroughly enjoyed ourselves there. And a big thanks again to all the guys at Seething who looked after us last week. But we had a great time, didn't we, guys? We got some awesome footage. But Nev, you've been playing around with that amazing camera and editing software of yours. So you've got a little something to show the guys in the YouTube chat room, haven't you?
Yes, I thought we'd give the PT UK film crew a bit of an outing, and just to give you a bit of an idea of what we saw there. The weather was kind of okay for the most part, not as much sunshine as we wanted to, but I thought I'd just put together a quick little montage of what we were up to last weekend.
safe to say.
Wow.
That was a rum bit of editing there, Mr. Band.
Yeah,
Well, you know, well, I've really enjoyed just seeing all that footage back again, actually, 'cause it brings back great memories. Hard to believe it was a week ago.
I know.
In
It's
some
gone so
respects,
fast,
it
isn't
seems
it?
longer than a week ago.
It does. Yeah.
But no, it was really, really good. And what we're going to be doing, we've got some more Farnborough stuff to play out as well, of course, but we'll be playing out some Seething things over the next few weeks, and some great interviews lined up as well. So yes,
watch this space, in other words, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to watch that, by the way, obviously for those of you listening to the audio version of the show, if you take, sorry, I keep knocking the wire, that's why I keep making these weird noises. If you take yourself to www.youtube.com and then search or take yourself to your YouTube app, however it is that you consume your YouTube content, and search for all one word, Plain Talking UK, and you'll find our channel. And obviously one of the reasons why we've put it at the top of the show is because it's very easy for you to find it. So worth a watch, actually. Yeah, actually, it was a great time had.
I know one of the interesting things, Nev, that you got some good footage of as well, was the turntable in the hangars there at Seething.
Oh, that was awesome, wasn't it? And Stuart was showing us that. We'll go into a bit more detail about it in the interview that will come up in a future episode. But in general terms, we've got the sort of 5 or 6 aircraft on the turntable, and you just choose which one you want, and it comes exactly in front of you. It goes a lot slower than I did speed it up slightly there, but it was remarkably accurate and really interesting to watch it. And the maintenance facilities at Seething and all the enthusiastic guys and girls that tinker with their aircraft over the weekend, I was really impressed with that. Yeah. That was fantastic, wasn't it?
It is a great place, isn't it? And it was, I mean, it's a Saturday morning, and that, I mean, you'd gone up on the Friday, haven't you? And even like on a non-weekend day,
Wednesday,
it's a hive of activity. I mean, it's a very busy airport. It's great to see. Yeah, so seriously recommended if you're out this way, come give Seething a visit. It is worth a try. Somebody in the chat room has just suggested about posting that actually as a separate video on YouTube. So I think that's quite a good idea. Actually, we'll do
and
that.
Also, you would have seen some of the catering action there as well, which was particularly well done by Matt and his mum. I think we can give that a big old tick in the box, because that was very, very tasty indeed.
Those burgers were lovely.
Yeah, they weren't bad, were they? They weren't bad. It was as I say, all in all, despite the weather's best efforts, it was a pretty nice weekend, actually, wasn't it? Yeah. And next year we're all going to go to the. I reckon next year, because obviously we're going to do it again next year. I've already decided. So next year we shall all go to the Flixton Aviation Museum.
Yeah,
I'll organise a bus or something, and we'll go and see that on the Sunday.
On that note, Matt, on the Sunday.
Yes.
Obviously, because you had Dan Hannington stay with you.
Yeah, Dan and Mila was
house,
Mila, sorry.
And actually, on the Sunday, Dan Hannington went across to the Flixton Aviation Museum, and he was. I phoned him up just after I dropped Nev and Mrs. Nev off at the train station, and I phoned Dan on the way back, and then about 3 hours later, I WhatsApped Dan. Yeah. He was still there.
He was still there. Yeah, it is. Have you had the pleasure, Nev? Have we got you over there yet when you've been this way?
I think didn't you take me there once, Carlos? We had a very quick walk round one Sunday morning, I think it was. It's
a cracking place.
Well, definitely want to go again.
So is it the Suffolk Aviation Museum? It's not called the Flixton Aviation Museum.
Yeah,
is it? But if you search Flixton Bungay Suffolk and Aviation Museum, you will definitely find it. But it is because it's mainly sort of war memorabilia, isn't it? But they've got a couple of sort of static aircraft.
It goes if you want to look up on the Googles.
Yeah. If you look it up on the Googles,
if you look up on the Googles, if you look for Norfolk and Suffolk Aviation Museum,
that's it,
and that's at Flixton. That'll take you there. And the best thing about this museum is it is 100% free to get in.
Ridiculous,
so
isn't it?
Walk in and look around all the static aircraft, and you don't have to pay a penny. But
and it is an incredible
donation.
Yeah, I can say it is an incredible museum. So I would strongly recommend that you, even if it's just a $5, it is a great museum. Yeah. But anyway, we digress slightly from the subject at hand.
But again, Nev, well done for that.
Yeah,
awesome work as always.
Pleasure. Thank you very much indeed. And yes, obviously, Mrs. Nev and I flew in with Captain Al. We stopped off in Rougham on the way, which is near Bury St Edmunds, to pick up
a way from Stray.
You've seen a bit of formation flying footage there as well. There'll be more of that in a future episode. So that was all good. I was fine, but Mrs. Nev was a little bit dicky in her stomach. So we got the train back.
Yes. And how was this? That must have been an experience for you, wasn't it, Dis?
So that did take a lot longer.
Yeah. Yes. And how was Dis train station?
Oh, it's very popular on a Sunday, especially as there's only one train an hour, so you have to sort of cram on it. But it got us to Liverpool Street in about an hour and 40 minutes.
Not bad. Not bad going at all. Yeah. Not as fast as flying though. That is something we have learned.
Yeah, it was about 55 minutes in the plane, but
we were having a chat, weren't we, afterwards? Like, well, I think you caught it on the tail end of the show last week, and it was just like, because it was like, where it takes 40 or 50 minutes for us to get to Bury St Edmunds from here, and in the plane you can do it how quick?
It was about 12 minutes from
12 minutes
to
12 minutes.
Seething. Yeah, obviously it's entirely direct, and you're doing 110, 120 knots.
It's just
crazy.
Yeah,
it is. Honestly.
I need to win the lottery and learn how to fly. I think this is what it is. Anyway, shall we do some aviation news?
Yes, we are going to start the show then, as we do each week, with our rundown of the weekly news from around the world and the UK. So if you're ready, Matt.
No, but yes.
Great. And if you're ready, Nev.
Yes, of course I am.
Let's go. So, kicking off this week's first news story, this is on the bristollive.co.uk, or the bristolpost.co.uk actual website. And TUI are in a bit of trouble this week. TUI! As in TUI. Mm-hmm. And the headline on here is Airline TUI, or TUI, blasted after children given deeply sexist stickers on a flight to Bristol Airport.
Oh dear.
So the airline has been blasted after children were given these stickers on board a flight which was heading to Bristol. Dame Gillian Morgan had landed at Bristol Airport on a TUI flight from Paphos in Cyprus on Wednesday when she noticed children sporting branded badges. The 65-year-old claims that all the boys were given future TUI captain stickers, while all the girls had future TUI cabin crew stickers.
Oh dear. That's a little bit of a faux pas, isn't it?
I know. The chair of the organisation, NHS Providers from Devon, said the stickers have been handed out to her great niece and nephew who are sitting behind her and other children during the later stages of the flight. However, when the children were passing through customs back in Bristol, it became apparent to Dame Gillian that only the boys had captain stickers and only the girls had cabin crew ones. You could see what all the children had on them, she said, and it was clear that just the boys had their pilot ones and the girls had their cabin crew. I thought it was deeply sexist. If it was random, it would have been fine, but it wasn't. They were all handed out by the cabin crew, which on this flight was an all-female cabin crew.
How ironic.
Dame Gillian believes, although the stickers were gender neutral, one is darker blue than the other. The airline's intentions were probably good, but there's a need to have a bit more thought behind the handing out of the stickers. She said they wanted to give them something nice to remember on the flight, but it was a choice and which you could see obviously the problems with the sexism coming through. And they said that TUI were trying, I think, to do the right thing, but fundamentally missed the point. There must have been a way of doing it with a bit more thought, and she was quite upset by this. And other TUI customers have similarly complained as well about the move on social media as well. And a spokesman for TUI, formerly Thomson Airways, blamed the row on a mix-up. They said that they were sorry. They hear that a small number of customers have been upset by this. They think it's been a simple mix-up since our future pilot and cabin crew stickers are designed for use for any children, regardless of gender. The stickers are part of our activity packs, which are intended to be used by crew to interact and engage and create special moments for the customers on their holiday. The feedback we've had so far this summer has been overwhelmingly positive, the TUI said. Children fall in love with flying and they go on their holidays with us, and we want to encourage their dreams of becoming future pilots and crew members. So I think this is just a little bit. This is just a it's not a serious thing, I don't think.
No.
But it was, I suppose, I think it should have been a case that the crew should have asked the children, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah, and sort of actually throw it to the because there is every possibility, of course, that everybody that is doing it is wanting. Sorry, we're having a couple of technical issues here in the studio, so just bear with me a moment. But I'm going to have to just stop talking for a moment. If you could just turn my microphone down for a minute, talk amongst yourself.
What I was just going to say was that it would be a triumph of the PR and marketing department at TUI because they come up with this great idea down the pub on a Friday night, and it's gone so well. And then they go and look at what's online. They go, "Oh no, it's backfired."
It's backfired horribly, hasn't it? Yeah. As you say, I think Carlos is right. If you actually go the other way, sort of you ping it back to sort of saying, when they come up and offer out the sticker, and what would you like? Would you like a pilot badge, or would you like a cabin crew badge? And then sort of do it that way. But who knows? I mean, it's as I say, and Masha quite rightly says, I'd rather have had a captain sticker. So there we are. I think that maybe that's why they did it, because everybody wants to be a captain, don't they? So I'd have just been handed out stickers for captains, really. Absolutely. Why sort of? But then I suppose, are you being unfair to those
just to get the comments
cabin crew? Is it all going a bit nuts? Is it?
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Barbara Parrish has just said that she wouldn't mind getting a cabin crew sticker.
Well, this is true. Yes, I wouldn't mind being one of those as well. So it's So is it this story here? Is this the one you were showing me earlier?
No, this is a great story.
It's Sky News, isn't it?
The second story in the folder this week for Matt. And,
there's a surprise.
This came up earlier this week, and I just thought it was after all the problems that Ryanair have had with obviously striking captains. This was quite an amusing story.
Right, okay, so this is on the Sky News website. It's at news.sky.com, and the headline is Ryanair passengers anger as compensation checks for cancelled flights bounce. The airline says 190 out of 20,000 checks issued after pilots went on strike in July did not have a signatory. Oops. So Ryanair passengers are furious after checks they received compensating them for cancelled flights bounced. Irish low-cost airline apologised on Wednesday morning and said a very small number of checks processed in July had been issued without a signature due to an administration error. Ryanair has since revealed that the small number is less than 190 out of over 220,000 compensation checks in July. Wow. Hang on, let's just digest that number for a moment. Less than 190 out of over 20,000 compensation checks in July alone. Thousands of passengers were affected in July after 30 flights were cancelled due to Irish pilots striking over seniority, promotion and annual leave. Ryanair said that the checks had been reissued to customers with a letter of explanation on the 15th of August. One passenger wrote on Twitter on the 14th of August, Ryanair, I have been trying to get hold of someone urgently as my bank are concerned because a compensation check that I have received was bounced. I think that this is outrageous. The bank said that the bank details provided do not exist. How is it possible on a printed check? Now that's interesting because that's very much different to what they're saying, unless they're misinterpreting the thing. Anyway, another wrote on Facebook on the 28th of July, Ryanair sent me a check for compensation that bounced, ended up costing me 32 euros. Because that is the issue, of course, is if you're paying it into a business account and the check bounces, then they will actually charge you for that. Yeah. Yes, that's. I mean, I won't go on because obviously it's pretty obvious that there was an administration error here.
When you get these,
I don't think checks from Ryanair are bouncing across the board. I'm pretty sure that's not the case. 190 did. 190 out of 20,000. Yeah.
But you always, when you get these checks, compensation checks, or these I like the ones you get from the Inland Revenue when you get a rebate for your tax.
Oh, never have one of those bounced.
I had 2 this year. Anyway,
what, the bounced?
No, not the bounced. No, but they have a kind of printed signature.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a generic.
Maybe
signature.
the print ran out of yellow ink or something. Perhaps that's what it is.
I thought that perhaps Mr. O'Leary's pen went on strike.
Right. Okay. Yes, Nev, please dig us out of this dangerous, suable area that we're strolled into.
There's a Facebook site called AV Disasters, which stands for Audio Visual Disasters.
Yes.
And it's basically things in my industry we put on there which aren't very good, from badly designed racks to televisions falling off the wall.
It's one of my
or massive spaghetti cabling. But when this story broke the other day, it just lit up.
Yes. And, I know what this story is going to be now. Do you know, because Nev signed me up for this, so that because he knew I would find it amusing. It is. I tell you what, when this is too much information, I know, but when I'm in the bath, there is nothing better than strolling through that particular Facebook page, because the stuff on there is fascinating. Have I shared too much with the group? Maybe
no, there's a US one called Installation Nightmares, I think, as well.
Yes.
Same sort of thing, but in the US. But anyway, so this story featured heavily on the one in the UK. This was on the independent.co.uk website, and good old Simon Calder, the travel correspondent, tells us that tens of thousands of travellers at Gatwick Airport went back to basics on one of the busiest days of the year. In the early hours of Monday morning, a fibre optic cable used by Vodafone to carry flight departure information was severed, causing the screens at the Sussex airport to go blank. The latest airport IT failure meant that passengers were directed to their gates by whiteboards and shouted instructions. Amid the confusion, at least 200 passengers missed their flights. Broken monitors and a tiny whiteboard for announcing gates, tweeted one passenger, Elizabeth Humphreys. Thank goodness I have eagle vision and can read messy writing from a distance. Extraordinary statement.
Yes.
The problem took at least 12 hours to solve, and shortly after 5 p.m, a spokesman for the airport said the issue with Gatwick's digital screens has been resolved and the flight information is being displayed as normal. The airport's manual contingency plan, which included displaying information manually in the terminals and having extra staff on hand to help direct passengers, worked well, and tens of thousands of passengers departed on time. Gatwick would like to apologise to any passengers who were inconvenienced by this issue. Whilst Gatwick has 2 runways, they can never be used simultaneously, making it effectively the biggest single runway airport in the world. And just to clarify that, it doesn't really have 2 runways that can be used, properly. One's basically a standby or emergency runway because it's very narrow and in width.
Right.
But the first wave of flights each morning has to get away on time to avoid jeopardising schedules for the remainder of the day. Some of the 200 plus travellers whose flights left whilst they were trying to find the right gate are reported to have spent hundreds of pounds on alternative flights. It goes on, but yes, these are one of those things. This is the FID, the Flight Information Display, and I think most airports handle it in the same sort of way. It's a central database, but most of this stuff is distributed by fibre around the systems, around the infrastructure and the distribution centres within the airport. And if someone goes through it with a pair of scissors or a set of cutters or worse, then it ain't going to work. So, but surprising there was no immediate backup for that with sort of like a structured cable. Or
Neil, actually Neil Lambourne makes a comment, Nev, in the chat room that you could still go online and get the departure information on your laptop or tablet. Wouldn't there be a way, Nev, of the airport having a system so they could switch to like an online, which could be then broadcast onto the screens? Is that not a...
Well, what they could have done is just brought up. I mean, I don't think that the system is patched that way, but they could have just literally gone to their own website to display it, really, couldn't they? That's what I would have done, and I would have actually made sure I've got some sort of connectivity to do that. But that's me being clever after the event, which is quite normal for me.
Indeed,
so.
Yes, indeed. Well, we can all be that, but the IT guy in both you and me, Nev, is literally looking at this story thinking there must have been a better way. Even if
it's down for so long as well. That's interesting, isn't it?
Well, and also, I mean, several situations here. I mean, if you've ever been to the airport, I mean, the airport Wi-Fi is usually pretty good. 4G, even with all those people in the airport, is usually pretty good. I mean, look, let's be honest. We've got a router here. All right, it cost us what, 130 quid, so it wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
But it had a 4G dongle in it, and barring a minor glitch that we had sort of about halfway through the show, it basically enabled us to do a full sort of high quality HD broadcast from the middle of an airfield. I mean, surely with that kind of connectivity, you're on the outskirts of London. I know. All right, yes, it is a pain when the fibre goes down, and as you say, it's probably not wired or configured in a way that would perhaps make it easy, but there must have been a better way. If all the information is still there and it's still working on the website, I mean, because I have to confess, I'd assumed that information had gone down as well.
Yeah.
But certainly according to this story, it was saying that it hadn't.
Correct, yes.
So I find that, I just find that I can't get my head around it. It would have been.
They needed a Nev there.
Well, they needed
I'm sure they'll have one of those lessons learned meetings.
Yes, that'll be a treat for them, won't it? Yeah.
So the next story, moving on, is on the travelandleisure.com website. And it's good news for those of you who want to travel between Europe and the US, because budget airline Primera Air announces new routes and $149 fares to Europe. So, do you fancy a European getaway? You're in luck, because another European airline is expanding its routes to and from the US, so you can hop across the pond. Low-cost airline Primera Air has announced new US routes to Europe, mainly to Brussels, Belgium, from Boston, Newark, Liberty, Washington airports, USA today revealed. If you're ready to plan your trip, you won't have to wait long. One daily flight will begin from Newark Liberty starting in May 2019, and multiple weekly flights from Washington and Boston Logan begin in June, according to USA Today. Primera also flies to London Stansted and Paris Charles de Gaulle from these cities as well. With the addition of 3 new routes, Primera will offer the flights to 8 European cities across from the US. As I said, the flights on the new routes will begin at $149 one way for passengers coming from Boston and Newark, and $199 one way for those coming from Washington. But be forewarned, however, that Primera Air is a budget airline, much like WOW and Spirit. This means that services like seat assignments and baggage can incur extra fees. Pay close attention to any fees for services you're going to want to ensure you get the best deal possible. That's quite a good bargain, I suppose, for a one-way fare. Obviously, you've got to add your baggage on top of that. But even if you added your baggage on and it was, I don't know, another $50, $200 for a one-way ticket to, from the States to Europe is not bad. It's less than 200 quid anyway. For us, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not bad value at all.
What do you reckon, Nev?
Yeah, pretty good. I was just booking a flight, actually, on EasyJet. Not for me, I hasten to add.
I was going to say, Nev.
This is not an airline I recognise.
No, of course, yeah. Yes.
But it was just one of those things this week when I was booking it for a client that we're taking to an exhibition in Amsterdam in September, and the flight was really good value. Sort of £101 return from Gatwick to Amsterdam. But then you wanted to add a bag. Oh, yes, I'll just take a bag. It's £49.
Right.
And
as much as the flight. Yes,
you just have to look at this whole fare structure again, where you look at the basic fares of something, and then you go, oh, we want to take a bag. Oh, we want this. We want that. And very soon, those headline fares that are being advertised are rarely achievable unless you're going hand baggage only, I would imagine.
Yeah, very true.
Indeed.
So moving on to the next story, and Matt, actually it's quite a good segue there from Nev talking about EasyJet.
Yes.
But it's another Ryanair story.
Okay, I'm a bit nervous here. I don't think I can play the video because I haven't been able to listen to it, and I'm not sure whether it has been edited, shall we say. But anyway, this is on the Mirror, the Irish Mirror, irishmirror.ie, and the story is... Ryanair passengers foul-mouthed rant during Tenerife flight before claiming she works for EasyJet. Great news. A clip filmed by a passenger on the flight from Manchester to Tenerife shows the woman scream, "I work for bleeping EasyJet." Right, it's yes, a woman filmed launching a woman filmed launching a foul-mouthed tirade during a Ryanair flight claimed she worked for rivals EasyJet. The furious passenger was captured on camera by a fellow flyer during a flight from Manchester on Friday. During her expletive-filled rant, yeah, I'm definitely not playing the video, the woman can be heard shouting, "I work for effing EasyJet." She repeatedly brands a member of staff as a soft T, whatever one of those is, as as he tries to calm her down. "Don't look down your nose at me," she shouts. She continues, "The whole world is sitting here looking at us walking past like pieces of something. Cheeky little something. I work for effing EasyJet." I'm not really quite sure what the point of this story is, but anyway, the clip shows that there is a young child sitting in the row behind her. That's not acceptable.
That's not good.
It's not known whether she actually is employed by EasyJet, as she claimed. The rant was reportedly sparked after a woman on the plane called out the passenger for her use of foul language. The person who filmed the incident wrote, upon 20 minutes to landing, she is very loud and swearing a lot due to the drink that she's been consuming. A lady a few rows back confronts the lady about this, and she responded with the hateful abuse you can see in this video. A representative for EasyJet told Mirror Online, "We have no information to suggest that the individual in this video is an EasyJet member of staff." A spokesman for Ryanair said that a customer on this flight became disruptive on board and was warned of their behaviour by our crew. "We will not tolerate unruly or disruptive behaviour at any time, and the safety and comfort of our passengers, crew and aircraft is our #1 priority."
Nor unacceptable behaviour. Now we cover a story near enough every week about
the
this
demon
kind of
drink,
behaviour.
isn't it? Again,
And it's the demon drink again, but it's there needs to be a precedent set now as to what the kind of punishment will be for this kind
you
of
see,
thing.
the issue I have with this, and I'd like to think probably Nev will agree with me as well on this one, is like, the thing is it's the only time when I go on holiday where I might have a pint at 6 a.m. in the morning. Now, I don't drink 20 of them. It's just that, I just like...
It sounds like she might have had a pint of vodka, I think.
Well, I don't really care what the beverage is that she had. She obviously had too much and is a muppet. But she's in danger of, because I know there was a story on the news this week, I think it might have been yesterday or the day before, where they're talking about regulating the amount that regulating what you can have in the airport. And again, it's this same old story, the minority spoiling it for the majority, because virtually everybody who flies isn't a muppet. Do you know what I mean? And they'll enjoy a couple of pints. As a nervous flyer, to be honest with you, I find it rather handy to be able to go and have a couple of pints before I get on the plane. I know I'm not supposed to, blah blah blah. I know the story, but
That's what we're saying. Give her a fine.
Give her a fine. No, banner.
Oh, a banner. Okay.
I think I've said this before, haven't I?
What do we reckon? What do we reckon, chat room?
Oh.
A fan.
Yeah.
A fine.
A fine or a ban.
Or a ban.
Basically.
What are we going to say?
Yeah.
Fine or ban?
Yes.
Let's see what the chat room says.
I've got a message from our cabin crew friend here that is questioning whether all puppets. He's saying all passengers aren't muppets? Question mark. I think that's very rude. Charming, Owen. Thanks.
Jess Braithwaite in the chat room has said that she doesn't work for EasyJet. She works for EasyJet.
Good point. Yes,
different
that's a
airline.
good point. Yeah, totally different. But as I say, I think I've mentioned this before, haven't I? In Bungay Town Centre, we have something called Pub Watch, and basically, if you get banned from one pub, you get banned from all. And I do think that in the UK, they should have a joined-up ban fly list. And I think if you're on that banned list, you should be, whether, I don't know who would have to administer it, or whether it could perhaps be done by Border Force.
Micah says ban.
Yeah, I think ban. What do you reckon, Nev?
Well, the trouble with this is, and I think all these ideas are marvellous, but of course, a lot of these flights are just within the UK. Obviously, there are some overseas ones too. But of course, you haven't got all the customs business and all the rest of it. So you're probably checking in with your hand luggage only. So you won't, people say, oh, well, shouldn't they sort it out at check-in? Well, they've already checked in online probably. And you're going through security. Now, security don't care that much, because as long as you're not taking anything illegal or nasty onto the aircraft, they're not employed by the airline. So off you go to the departure gate. And as long as you are, fairly sensible at the departure gate, you'll get on the flight. But this is where it all goes wrong, because by the time people actually get on the flight, they've already had 3, 4, 5 pints or whatever it is, and so they're already tanked up before they've begun, and this is where it goes wrong. And but unfortunately, we do have a bit of a culture now, don't we? Certainly in the UK, of this kind of behaviour. And I've seen it happen in other countries too, but we do seem to suffer from this binge drinking thing, which it seems to affect all ages. You read about it in the paper, think, oh, it's only 18, 19-year-olds, but it's not. It's people well into their 50s and 60s that get up to it as well. So,
Auntie Liz says,
but I think the punishment has to be harder.
I think so. Well, and of course, basically, what they're doing at the moment, whatever it is that they're doing at the moment, is clearly not working. I mean, it's just, a stern reprimand or sort of telling them off when they land is not working. So, you almost need a sort of, I know it sounds, I hate to use the word set an example, but you almost need somebody to do, people to start getting banned and things like that because of what is occurring. I don't know. I think the time has come to set examples.
The law is already in place. If you are you have the potential to endanger the flight safety, which by having excessive alcohol you would be. Obviously, it's the captain's call as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But of course, the captain is dealing with so much other stuff. He has to rely on the discretion and the sensible behaviour of the gate staff.
Yes.
And when you're trying to board 180 people onto a 737 or whatever it is,
let's say 737-800.
It's a problem, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. Yeah, I don't know, but again, you see, this is the thing. And I know we keep talking about it, but it's like, but stopping people from, limiting the amount of alcohol they can have in the airport is not fair to absolutely everyone, apart from this tiny minority. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's my frustration with it. I get why everybody's saying, "Oh, I think there should be a blanket ban, and you should only be, or make alcohol more expensive, or." It's just like sorry, Owen's not being very helpful because I said that you got any comment. He said drunk passengers create far too much paperwork, time and hassle. Right.
Well said, Owen.
So I don't like them was his answer. Yeah.
So Nev, the next story is a special story for Brian Coleman.
Yes, of course, and it's where I go for all my aviation news. It's the Express.
Oh, what a treat!
Website. And actually, I'm going to comment on this at the end of it, but I quite like this story because it says United Airlines asked to start charging passengers for economy seats at the front of the plane when wanting to reserve them, despite them having no extra legroom or perks in comparison. United Airlines will be implementing the new seat cost changes later this year. Economy seats at the front of the plane will now be available at a price for passengers. Despite them having no extra perks such as additional legroom, they are preferred by some due to being able to get off the plane first. The prices for these seats have not yet been released. United Airlines told Express beginning later this year at the time of booking, select standard economy seats close to the front of the aircraft behind Economy Plus will be available for corporate preferred elite customers and United Mileage Plus Premier free of charge. If these seats are not filled, they will be opened for all customers to select at check-in free of charge. These preferred seats will be available for purchase for all other customers at the time of booking. UK flights such as Ryanair and EasyJet charge for all seats with prices starting from £4. Many budget airlines do this to keep the cost down, with passengers being given random seat allocation when checking in for free. BA passengers were accused of also making families pay £20 for seats or risk being separated. BA responded at the time saying, "We will always prioritise seating for families travelling with children and customers with special needs." The seat reservation charge by United Airlines is just one of the announcements made by them this year. Well, like us, I did this once, and I thought, oh, I just fancy being at the front. I don't mind paying a few extra quid, and I was so chuffed. And I'm a bit of an aviation snob, as you know, when it comes to this kind of thing. I don't mind admitting it. And we pulled up to the gate. I was just finishing my, I think it was a glass of Merlot, I think it was, and some caviar probably. But then they said, oh, we're going to deplane from the rear, unfortunately, because the gate's not working. So I had to wait for every single person to get off the plane before I could get off.
Oh,
so
no.
Yes, money well spent there.
Slightly embarrassed.
Yes.
But
never mind.
I can see people paying for this, I must say. I don't know what the premium would be, but I think some people might do it.
They've actually got a survey on the website, Nev. I don't know if you clicked on the survey there, but Express Lifestyle done a survey. And the question they asked on their website was, when you book a flight, do you pay for seat reservations? The answer was, no, I just wait to be given a free seat when I check in. Or the other one was, yes, I like to choose which seat is mine. It's a bit of a kind of even keel, really, on here, because 47% have clicked no, they'll just wait to have a seat when they arrive, and 53% said yes, I'd like to choose which seat is mine. So it's quite even, quite even sort of size.
I mean, because we're fairly used to sort of having to pay for our seats. Well, I suppose it's even to us, it's fairly new, isn't it, with the likes of Ryanair and EasyJet, doing stuff like that.
With the short haul stuff, paying to reserve a seat is
because BA don't do this at the moment, do they, Nev?
Oh, they do, yes. I mean, if you're, I don't have to pay for seat reservation because I'm a silver card holder, but I think you do if you're a bronze or rust or something below that.
Wow.
But those seat reservation prices, I tell you what, they are quite eye-watering. And you book your fare, and that's a really good price. Oh, I fancy a window seat. Perhaps about 10A, something like that. And then you go and click on it. And if it's an emergency seat as well, it could be £66 to reserve the seat. So
really?
There's a lot of money to be made in that sector for people that want to pay for it. Yeah.
I'm a great believer in the wonderful website called Seat Guru.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. Put your flight number in, put your airline in, gives you the seat plan of the aircraft.
And I must confess that every time I've done any kind of flying, actually, it's been done for me by someone else, because someone else has always been making the booking. So they've already decided where I'm sitting.
In the brig.
Yeah, absolutely. In the brig. Oh, dear, in the dark. Yes, somewhere in the dark and lonely castle. Yes.
So moving on to the next story, and this is on the travelandleisure.com website, and the headline is why Delta is adding new seat back screens while other airlines are getting rid of them. So it's something we've covered in the past about airlines, some airlines removing seat back entertainment screens, obviously to save weight.
Yes. Well, everybody's got their tablets, haven't they?
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
so as long as you've got
That's true.
decent Wi-Fi inside, you know.
So in an era when it seems like perks are constantly disappearing from planes, there is some reassurance when airlines decide to keep a staple of the cabin experience. In a press release last week, Delta Airlines announced it had installed a seatback entertainment system on its 600th aircraft. Delta now says it has more aircraft with seatback screens than any other airline in the world. The figure underscores Delta's desire to keep passengers entertained in multiple ways. With seatback screens, customers don't have to choose between using their phones or watching a movie. The airline's chief marketing officer said in the statement, whether they want to work, relax, or a little bit of both. We want to give our customers the ability to choose and make the most of their time in flight. Delta Studio, the in-flight entertainment system, works on seatback screens and personal devices. Last year, Delta introduced free messaging via Wi-Fi on board. Earlier this year, Delta, an executive said the airline was specifically considering ways to replicate a passenger's life on the ground with more and more media at their fingertips. Delta wants flying to have the same convenience as texting friends on your phone while streaming Netflix on your computer. They believe that strongly in having an extra screen for customers in the seatback. Andrew Wingrove, Delta's managing director for product strategy and customer experience, told the New York Times. Earlier this year, JetBlue restyled its cabins for more passenger connectivity, including a new in-flight entertainment system, high-definition seatback TVs, and in-seat power outlets with USB ports, and continued free gate-to-gate fly-high high-speed internet, according to a press release. While some travellers may relish the idea of being entertained in flight without draining their device's batteries, some airlines bark at the cost of installing seatback screens. One airline consulting firm estimated that the cost of installing and maintaining seatback entertainment screens can reach up to $10,000 per seat.
Per seat? No, don't be ridiculous.
Both American and United Airlines have begun eliminating seatback entertainment to cut costs. However, about 70% of airline passengers said they prefer watching in-flight entertainment on seatback screens than any other form of streaming, according to a recent Apex Global Passenger Survey. While seatback screens may not be the most pressing in-flight issue for all, passenger service is likely to set the airlines and Delta and JetBlue apart from the cost-conscious competitors. Now, I can see why the airline Delta has done this. I mean, we travelled back on a Delta 767-300 a few years back, and the seatback entertainment system on that particular aircraft was dated,
right? Okay.
They were, I think, they were LCD displays. They were not the greatest.
Actually, coming back from not Pittsburgh, the other one, New York, and that I mean, again, it was a little 4x3 like LCD linear sort of thing that
Is that where you poke the screen and all the things?
I didn't dare touch it. Well, no, because it was like you pressed the button down here, and it was 5 linear TV channels that you were able to choose from, or 8 audio channels. I opted for audio channels and slept all the way home. that was my option. It's because a short haul is so commonplace not to have any kind of IFE now, isn't it? It's so normal. I mean, presumably, like with a lot of the flights that you do, Nev, I mean, I don't suppose there's IFE, is there?
No, for the most part, certainly not on the short haul sectors. The flights that 2 or 3 hours within Europe, very rare. Yes, that's right. So, no, and again, people are bringing their own stuff, aren't they? Their own iPads and what have you. So they've got.
I see. I think that's more the way forward. Is actually. Just literally, surely that is the way forward. Just getting, a decent sort of like, because you don't need connectivity outside of the network, do you? You just need to be able to stream that, get enough concurrent connections on whichever system it is that they're using. That's got to be cheaper than hardwiring loads of screnes and all
also,
that kind of thing.
I mean, let's be honest here. To get a half decent tablet nowadays, you're not going to blow.
They're
the
not
bank.
expensive. No, not like they used to be.
No.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? I don't know what to suggest, really.
Oh no, I'm just reading the chat room actually.
Oh, are you? Yes.
Various things in the chat.
What are they saying?
It's barbecue talk and stuff like that.
Oh, is that? We like barbecue talk. Yes.
Like barbecue
don't you making
talk,
me hungry? Anyway, we're going to move on to the next story.
Yeah, the next story actually, Matt. It's good news. Finally.
Yes. Okay. The Irish Examiner is the website, and so it's irishexaminer.com, and the headline is "Agreement Reached Between Pilots and Ryanair." An agreement has been reached between Ryanair and Irish-based pilots. Talks between the airline and pilots' union Forza began yesterday and ended at 7:30 a.m. this morning after a 22-hour negotiating session.
Blimey.
The proposed agreement will now go to ballot with a recommendation for acceptance from Forza and its Ryanair pilot representatives. The union has been asked by facilitator Kieran Mulvey to take no public comment while the ballot is conducted. Oh, so presumably the deal is being put out to the members. Is that correct? For them to decide whether to accept it or not. So, in a statement, Ryanair confirmed that an agreement had been reached with Forza and its Irish-based pilots committee. Ryanair said that it will the proposals. Great English. Ryanair said that it will the proposals to its board in due course. I think they mean will send the proposals to its board in due course after pilots have voted and signed the agreement. Also, it said that the mediator Kieran Mulvey had asked both sides to refrain from making further comment and that the airline will respect its wishes. Around 100 Irish-based Ryanair pilots took part in 5 days of strike action throughout the summer in a dispute over seniority security, base transfers and annual leave. Thousands of passengers across Ireland and Europe were affected by flight cancellations, as 24-hour pickets were also held in Germany, Sweden, Belgium and the Netherlands. The Irish Travel Agents Association, the ITAA, have welcomed today's announcement, saying it was relieved that the agreement will stand for the long term. Pat Dawson, CEO of the ITAA, said since the industrial dispute was announced, thousands of holidaymakers have faced uncertainty in travel plans and often incurred additional costs during the peak tourism season. Paramount to the ITAA members is a continued reliable service for holidaymakers, and we look forward to an improved travel experience for our customers flying with Ryanair. We are hoping that both the pilots' ballot and the Ryanair board will support the stipulations reached by the negotiating parties as soon as possible, he said. So it'll be interesting to know what the deal actually ends up being, doesn't it?
So, do you fancy knowing how much the pilots are paid?
Yes.
Because actually, believe it or not, on the careers part of Ryanair's website, they actually publish their rates of pay for their captains and FOs.
Do they? Okay.
So, any ideas, Nev, how much you could get as a captain for Ryanair?
I'm going to say €110,000.
Ooh, that's a good guess. Yeah, I'm going to say 90,000.
Matt's going for the worst.
Yeah.
Well, so a captain could potentially, with Ryanair, be on €156,150, which in the current exchange rate
money?
is £141,000.
That's not bad.
In dollars, that equates for our US listeners to $181,000.
Okay. So how does that compare to your average pilot salary? Then,
we're going to have to find out, aren't we, really?
Yes, okay.
So if you're an FO, First Officer, with Ryanair, come on, Nev, FO, what are we saying?
I suppose it depends on the hours, doesn't it? The experience, the seniority. I would imagine.
This is for new joiners. New joiners.
The salary.
This is new guys joining as FOs.
Oh, new. Well, I would say
£5.
€60,000.
Really?
Ooh.
Gosh, is it really that much lower? I'm gonna go. What was the captain's figure? 141. 141. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go with 110. I'm going to go with Nev's first answer, 110.
Was that euros or pounds?
Euros.
Euros.
Yeah.
Okay, so for FOs, new joiners based at Dublin, you'll be on €78,000, which equates to £70,000 sterling. Or if you're in the US, that's $90,000.
Okay.
What do you reckon, then, Nev? How does that sound?
Well, of course, the headline numbers are great, aren't they?
Yes.
But of course, there's lots of terms and conditions, and you've got to buy your own uniform and all that business.
Yeah,
pay for your own training, and they probably don't. If you think about the training, it's a mortgage, isn't it, for most people? So paying for your own training, I think
they do actually on their website. This is funny. You'll love this, Nev. On the website, they are quite happy putting on their website, on this contracts page, that we pay 22% more than Norwegian, we pay 27% more than Norwegian for FOs, and we pay 22% more than Jet2.
Right. Okay.
So there we go.
Yes, I mean, but I mean, you see, this is the thing. I can give you a list of people who I know who have all flown with Jet2, who all have nothing but nice things to say about their experience that they've had with Jet2, even though some of them have been delayed.
Neil Lamborn says, I bet it says somewhere up to.
Up to, yeah. This is it. It'll be in the paperwork there somewhere, won't it?
Oh dear. So there we go. A bit of food for thought there. Then,
yeah, definitely.
So Nev, moving on. The next story is one for you.
Yes, it's all about the Queen of the Skies, the Boeing 747. And this is on the UK Business Insider website. And airliners are using these 5 planes to replace the Boeing 747. And the jumbo jet's days as a passenger plane, of course, are numbered. And once the go-to passenger jet for airlines around the world, it's destined to live out its days as a cargo jet. The future of the 747 is in the cargo business, the Boeing vice president said at the Farnborough Air Show. And according to Boeing, of 42,730 passenger jets customers are expected to order over the next 20 years, only 60 will be aircraft similar in size to the jumbo jet. That works out to 3 Boeing 747-8s or Airbus A380s a year. And even then, they are mostly expected to be VIP transports. So through July, Boeing has just 22 unfilled orders for the 747, and all of them are for the cargo variant. Over the past decade, Boeing did manage to sell 47 747-8s that are currently in service with Air China, Korean Air and Lufthansa. Korean Air and Lufthansa operate both the 747 and the rival A380. According to Lufthansa Group CEO Carsten Spohr, the decision to operate the 747 instead of smaller aircraft has to do with the amount of room the plane affords its premium cabin. No airline in the world sells as many premium seats as Lufthansa, Spohr told us in a recent interview. When we talk about an XL aircraft, we need 100 first and business class seats, which nobody else has. That's why we operate the Dash 8 on routes where others operate the Boeing 777, he added. Unfortunately, there are way more airlines retiring their 747 fleets than there are adding to them. Last year, both Delta and United sent their aging 747 fleets to the scrapyard, marking the first time in nearly 5 decades that no US network carrier will fly passengers in a jumbo jet. So smaller and more affordable twin jets like the Boeing 777 have taken over as the industry's passenger carrying workhorses. Their ability to deliver great range and performance at a fraction of the 747's operating costs makes them virtually unbeatable. The Boeing 747-8i lists for $402.9 million, whilst the Dash 8 freighter is a few $100,000 more at $403.6 million. Sadly, this means the writing's on the wall, and the Queen of the Skies will likely go out with a whimper rather than a bang. So a quick closer look at the plane's airlines, the plane's airlines that are being used to replace the 747 jumbo jets. They list various aircraft here, but the 777-300ER is one of them, which United are running, Air New Zealand, Cathay Pacific, Japan Airlines, Air France and KLM. They've all selected the 777-300ER to take over the 747's former routes, and it's all about economics, isn't it? And the running costs.
Yeah. Indeed, well, of course it has to be, doesn't it, in this day and age? I mean, this is the thing they've got to try and, this is why, things like the A380, again, it's the same thing, isn't it? That's why it's not doing as well as perhaps they'd hoped, is just because of the sheer costs involved in running it, 4 engines versus 2, etc.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I'm so glad we got the chance to fly the 747-400 a few years back to Vegas, because at least I've ticked that box.
Tick the box, yeah.
Yeah, I've been on the Queen. You've flown the Queen of the Skies, haven't you, Nev?
I have, yes, yeah. And the 200, 300 and 400 series. Then on Tuesday I'm flying the 767 from Heathrow to Edinburgh and back. And then I'm doing the same for an Amsterdam flight, as I mentioned, later in September. And that'll be one of the last 767 flights they'll be flying on BA before they retire them at the end of the year.
Really? Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So the next story is on the ctvnews.ca.
Right. Okay.
And the headline, Airline touts passenger wellness as it launches its longest flight. The airline that will be operating the world's longest flight, we talked about this a few episodes back, released details of its new in-flight wellness itinerary.
Okay, good.
Can we just say that has never been a word, and I would like to meet the person that has tried to introduce that word.
Wellness.
The vocabulary.
See, I know wellness as a brand of something that you would have, like your tablets or supplements that you would take. I know wellness as a brand.
Yes, irritating.
Yes. You're not a fan of the word, then, Nev?
Oh no.
So for Nev's wellness, itinerary.
Danger.
Which includes sleep, stretching, and nutritional strategies designed to reduce the effects of jet lag.
Of course.
Because when on board the non-stop Singapore Airlines flight between Singapore and New York come in October, passengers will have brought a one-way ticket to an 18-hour, 45-minute journey in the skies in a pressurised cabin breathing recycled air.
Right.
For the wellness program, the carrier partnered with experts at Canyon Ranch, best known for their health spas and wellness resorts in the US, to develop a sleep strategy, stretching exercises, and in-flight food offerings. For the menu, Canyon Ranch's chefs and nutritionists focused on nutrition and hydration and came up with a set menu that includes a prawn ceviche appetizer served with orange and cucumber grapefruit, scallions and bell peppers, followed by a main course of organic chicken and spiralized zucchini pappardelle with glazed tomatoes in a lemon vinaigrette.
Your wife behind you is dribbling at the whole idea of the whole. It just sounds delightful.
No, dessert.
You'd rather have a bottle of champagne, right? Yes, okay,
dessert,
of course you would.
Dessert is a blueberry-topped lemon angel food cake. That sounds nice.
Oh, okay.
Passengers can also consult guided stretching exercises devised by Canyon Ranch. And also via their personal in-flight entertainment system, they can also access the videos to show how to do these particular exercises.
Very good. Can I just interject there slightly?
Yes.
Actually, on the subject of wellness here, Lee, who everybody met at the barbecue the week, he's just saying that this is currently helping him with his wellness. Nev, there we are. I thought you might approve. Yeah, see, there we go. Yeah, so
good choice.
Good choice there, Lee. Yes, absolutely. So the Shipyard American IPA. Look, there we are. Oh, is it nice? Yeah. Oh, hello. He's had it before. There we are.
So light settings on the aircraft have also been designed to improve cabin ambiance. And rest and relaxation.
Is it compulsory to say it?
Ambiance.
Ambiance.
So the flight is going to be operated by the A350-900 ULR, or ultra long range aircraft, that will be configured in a two-class layout, business class and premium economy cabins. Singapore Airlines will be the first to operate the A350-900 ULR. The wellness program will also roll out for non-stop flights between Singapore and Los Angeles and San Francisco.
Los Angeles.
Yeah. So it's safe to say, if you're going to fly Singapore, I'll tell you what, we laugh, but honestly, Singapore Airlines is one of those airlines I really need to go somewhere and fly with Singapore, because they have such good reviews, and obviously they win an award every time they
10 minutes.
Every 10 minutes they win some top 10.
You see, I'm desperate to fly with Emirates for exactly the same reason. Because even there, have you flown?
Plenty times.
Oh, have you? Oh, listen to you. Oh, listen to him. Have you ever had the pleasure, Nev? Emirates?
Let me think. I think I did. Yes, it was A330-200, I think it was.
Is that not a
on
good
Emirates
plane?
in 2006.
And how was the experience?
Not bad. I was in the cheap seats, but it was okay actually. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, well, and this is what everybody's saying. Even the economy, if you like, in even their economy and stuff is, and I think it's the same reason why people are excited about Singapore. It's the same, isn't it? You get that same sort of, you get a higher end sort of experience, if you like, economy experience than you would than you would say with flying any other airline. Let's say British Airways.
Put it this way: I've never got off an Emirates flight and been hungry.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they do feed you and
feed you and water you
with plenty of.
Cabin crew must be very tired by the end of it.
Yeah, they're very good.
They have to work quite hard. Good. Yes. Well, never mind.
No.
Yes. Next story.
Next story is for you, Matt. This one is on
the Global Times, I believe. Yes. So this is the Global Times, and the headline is Airbus weighs new long-range A321. So this is the planned latest move is in its battle with Boeing for 270 seat segment, whatever that means.
So it's basically, Matt, it's the two airlines. You've got manufacturers, Airbus and Boeing.
No, I've heard of those. I know what
they're listed, but they're obviously trying. They're in competition to produce these single aisle aircraft. But as you'll probably see, Airbus is slightly ahead of the game.
Are they? Right, okay. It's actually, we haven't had any figures come out yet about Farnborough, have we? About who got the most, who did better? Because there's always this rivalry, isn't there, at Farnborough about whether it was Boeing or Airbus that did better. I want to say Airbus just because they were so much more prominent, weren't they? Especially with that, with the A380 and the A350 doing a display and stuff. Anyway, right. So I'm slightly off subject here. So anyway, as I say, globaltimes.cn, and it says Airbus is considering adding extra endurance to its longest range version of its A321 passenger jet in a further effort to preempt a potential new mid-market jet being studied by US rival Boeing. Industry sources says so. The new version, called the A321 XLR. Ooh, hello. That's a microphone adapter, isn't it? Anyway, is the latest study on the drawing board in a battle of wits as both jet makers battle for supremacy in the 200 to 270 seat segment, valued by analysts at hundreds of billions of dollars over the next 20 years. The newly proposed A321 XLR would carry extra fuel and expand the range of the A321 LR aircraft, which presumably means long range, which recently claimed a long-distance record for single-aisle jets in testing. The sources said, asking not to be named as the idea remains highly confidential. It is expected to be aimed at North American carriers whose ordering decisions could be decisive as Boeing weighs up whether to go ahead with plans for a new middle-of-the-market aircraft. We do not comment on our product policy, an Airbus spokesman said, noting that Airbus has 80% of sales in the A321 category. The spokesman added, "We are under no pressure." So Airbus has been heavily outselling Boeing in the lower end of the 200 to 270 seat segment with the new single-aisle A321, while Boeing has been dominating at the upper end with strong sales of the 787 Dreamliner at the expense of the Airbus A330neo. This is the space into which Boeing proposes launching its 220 to 270 seat mid-market jet, a hybrid with the twin-aisle cabin of a wide-body jet, but with the smaller cargo space of a single-aisle plane, thanks to a novel shape designed to fly more efficiently. Airbus has been toying with several proposals to extend the A321's advantage and try to limit the impact of Boeing's new plane, or even prompt its rival to abandon the idea entirely. So Airbus says that the A321 long-range airplane, due to enter service this year, will have a maximum range of 4,000 nautical miles. That's around about 7,400 kilometres. Boeing says that the 737 MAX 10, the largest member of its competing 737 family, has a range of 3,300 nautical miles. I won't go on basically, but you get the gist essentially. So they're toying with the idea of flirting with an A321 XLR. So you'll be able to plug your radio mic in directly, Nev. That's good news, isn't it? Yes,
that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Straight in. Yeah.
So the 321 is very similar in kind of size to the 757.
Right.
Your favourite aircraft, Matt. The difference in seating is actually I didn't realise it is quite that much, but the one class seating layout that Airbus can do with the 321 is a maximum seating of 236 passengers, while a 757 300 can seat 243.
Going back, sorry to interrupt. Going back to what we were talking about a moment ago, somebody in the chat, Andy Wilson, says, Matt, Farnborough orders for Boeing 675-ish and Airbus 430-ish. So Boeing might have won then.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
Nev, what's coming up for the last story now with Flight Global?
I'm going to dedicate this entire story to the top chap, Glenn Tower, because it talks about Air New Zealand and Airbus in the same story. So he'll be very pleased about that. And this is the story about Air New Zealand has committed to add 7 more Airbus A321 Neos to its fleet between 2020 and 2024. Airline Chief Financial Officer Jeff McDowell said that it entered into a commitment with Airbus earlier in the month for the additional jets, which will become part of its domestic fleet. 3 will be delivered in 2020 and 2 each in 22 and 24. This is separate from the existing order of NEOs that will be arriving shortly for deployment on the Trans-Tasman and Pacific Island networks, he adds. Flight Fleet's analyzer shows that, excluding today's announcement, the carrier has 9 A320 NEOs and 8 A321 NEOs on order. The first of those aircraft, powered by Pratt & Whitney PW1100G engines, will be delivered in December. In the meantime, the carrier has flagged that 3 leased A321 CEOs in its Trans-Tasman fleet will be transferred to its domestic fleet, taking that to 20 aircraft. From 2020, these older leased aircraft will be replaced on a one-for-one swap with larger A321 NEOs, which will provide efficient growth, adds McDowell. Air New Zealand has also pushed back delivery of one of its A320 NEOs from 2020 to 2022, as it focuses on gaining greater utilisation from its short-haul international fleet. The carrier also confirmed that it will now take an additional Boeing 777-200 on lease to help cover schedule issues due to ongoing inspections of the Trent 1000 engines that's powering its 787-9 fleets. And today, the carrier has taken an ex-Singapore Airlines 777-200 on lease from Boeing Capital, while it has also sourced a -300ER from EVA Air. The carrier has not stated where the other 777-200 is being leased from.
They're actually due to phase out their 200 Series 777s in 2023 there in New Zealand.
Yes.
But no, they have got 11 787-9s. Whether they're actually flying or not is another thing. But they have got 11 of those.
It might be on the ground,
Yeah.
Is this over this whole engine debacle?
Yeah, I don't know whether that's been sorted out yet or not, Nev.
Well, it's ongoing, isn't it? And I think although things are improving, and you read in the press about all sorts of things to do with the Trent 1000 series engine, it's going to take a while, and as long as it's taking a while, then people will have to do wet leasing of aircraft from other places, and certainly British Airways are still doing that, and a number of others as well, I believe.
It was indeed, and of course the people we saw at Farnborough, where they'd just taken delivery of their A380, must be rubbing their hands together with glee as a result.
I know. I'll tell you what, there's
that.
been stories, quite a few stories in the last few weeks actually. Now, that high flight A380 that we saw at Farnborough has been, it's been definitely been used.
Oh yeah,
by
and they were being and we'll run the interview actually, which we did there in a few weeks' time, but. They were being a little bit coy about how much utilisation they were going to get, and of course they've timed it absolutely perfectly.
Cool, haven't they?
They've got all these -9 problems with the Trent 1000 engine, so suddenly people are going to want a big aircraft operating to major destinations.
Yeah, absolutely.
The range that they've got with that.
I mean, they've the whole reason they need these aircraft in the first place is because they have demand for the route, and suddenly these planes are out of action. I mean, it's as you say, they couldn't have timed it more perfect. Highfly couldn't have timed it more perfectly. They tried, really, had they?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where we bring the commercial news segment of the show to a close. As you remember, we were at Farnborough a few weeks back, and Nev, we're going to hand things over to you to introduce the next segment.
Yeah, it's a very interesting interview that Al did with the Air League. And the Air League is a charitable aviation organisation based in the UK, and they were founded in 1909. So over 100 years after it was formed, the Air League's mission is to enhance national understanding of the importance to the UK of aviation and aerospace, and to excite young people's interest in these areas by helping them get involved. The Air League Trust is now the major provider of powered flying, ballooning, gliding and engineering scholarships and bursaries to young people and disabled veterans. And the patron of the Air League is Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. Well, whilst we're at Farnborough, Al did a very nice job of interviewing Tina at the Air League, and we're going to play that interview right now.
So here we are then at the Air League tent at Farnborough, and I'm with Tina. Now, as many of you know, I fly commercially. I've been flying the Airbus for just on 20 years, and I was very lucky in how I was able to get into aviation. But Tina's here to tell us a little bit about how the organisation, the Air League, can help other people to get into aviation. So here's your opportunity to sell the Air League.
So the Air League, if I give a bit of a brief introduction about what the Air League are. So we're an aviation and aerospace charity that was founded in 1909. So we were responsible for the first air cadets, and Prince Philip is our patron. So we've got some very royal links, which is fantastic, and have had that support for many years. The Air League is really about promoting aerospace and aviation to young people, as well as promoting aviation and aerospace to the government. So we get involved in parliamentary debates and things like that, as well as doing the youth side of things. So the scholarship programs are a major part of what we do. So we work with inner city schools and young people across the sector to offer them flying opportunities. Okay, so with regards to the scholarship, can you give me a little bit of detail about what that actually involves? Because as we all know, the cost of training in aviation is massive. And one of the areas that's been of a personal concern to me is that ever increasingly it's becoming the domain of people with money, not necessarily the vocation or the heart-driven desire to fly. And I would wholeheartedly agree with that, and it's something that we're really passionate about breaking down, is some of those silos that we're seeing, and really starting to promote a career in flying to not just to the select few but to the many. So our scholarship programs, essentially, you can start from 16, so 16-year-olds can apply for our gliding scholarships, so free gliding, basically at a school of your choice. You can then proceed on to some of our flying scholarships. So those are 12 hours of free flying at present at 3 different training locations. So that's at Wellesbourne, Booker and at Tayside Aviation. So we've been working with those 3 schools very closely.
And presumably there's a selection process involved in that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what sort of things would you want to see from someone before you started doling out the cash?
So I would say a true passion and interest in aviation is at the core of it. I want to see motivation. I want to see that aviation buzz coming from people. That's really important, and also some commitment towards it. So although we really want to help people get started in their flying careers, but we also want to see them put it to good use. So it's really important that you visit, perhaps, especially for the flying scholarships, you really think about how they're going to benefit your future career as a pilot or in the aviation industry, and think about some of those, lovely pilot competencies that the EASA has kindly put together for us, and how you emulate those properties.
Okay, that's fantastic. So if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way of accessing the information in more detail?
So I would say through our website is the best thing. So there's a way of getting in touch. So it's www.airleague.co.uk. You can also email us on info@airleague.co.uk, and we'll be able to provide you with further details. So please get in touch. We're always looking for new members. So not only do we offer the scholarship packages to people, but there are some fantastic opportunities to do networking through our parliamentary events. We've got links to both military and the commercial side, so you can really get started with the Air League with your future career in aviation.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thanks.
Find this and other great shows at the Aviation Media Network.
thevoicesinyourhead.com.
The Plain Talking UK podcast is a voluntary project that aims to keep you informed with the latest aviation-related stories from newswires across the globe.
Producing our content does cost money though. If you enjoy our show, why not help us keep on the air by making a donation towards the server and website hosting fees through PayPal. Any contributions would be greatly appreciated.
Are you an Amazon user? If so, why not do your shopping through the link on our website? There's no cost to yourself, and Amazon pay us a small referral fee on qualifying purchases.
To find out more about the show and to meet the team, take yourself to our website www.plaintalkinguk.com,
or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/plaintalkinguk, on Twitter via @plaintalkinguk, or get in touch via email on podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. Thanks for listening.
Flybe 5823, Trent Dane for 23-hour Manchester, Wizz Air 6X, climb flight level 210, direct to Bretlands Park. United 123, maintain 280 knots. London 2TME, turn right onto Bravo, link, 21 join Alpha, hold at Mora, Speedbird 472, LOC/DME, approach runway 27 left, follow the green stand 544.
That's enough air traffic control for today, Nat. Bedtime.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to fly a commercial passenger jet? Looked up at the sky and thought, I wish that was me? Well, now anyone has the chance to have a go at flying in a real aircraft simulator. NP Simulations and Flight Experience London, the only official Boeing licensed product of its kind in the UK, offer you the chance to fly anywhere in the world in their fixed-base Boeing 737-800 flight simulator. And that's not all. Ground School London offers many different courses for the up-and-coming pilot looking for a start in aviation. With prices starting at just £109, the sky's the limit. So for the ultimate flight simulator experience, or engaging preparatory courses, including those for schools and colleges, check out the websites at www.london.flightexperience.co.uk and www.groundsschoollondon.com or call on 020 300 40 616. NP Simulations. Fly your dreams.
The one thing that I can say, basically, going nuts in the chat room here, they're all absolutely astounded at how well behaved Sir Captain of Al was. That's the only thing that they're mentioning. Is like, it's just like, wow, wasn't Al well behaved? Yeah. Absolutely.
No, well done as always, Nev. Sterling work.
Yeah, sorry that the audio wasn't up to much on that. It was entirely my fault. I should have actually given Al my mic, shouldn't I? Really, instead of trying to hold it. And of course, it was very noisy,
yes.
And there was planes flying around.
Yes, that does happen.
That.
Yes, although Auntie Liz says yes, it says a good plan, Nev. You know, getting the excuses on the audio in earlier. It said like pilots and their landing excuses. She was saying, I mean, how rude. Honestly.
Absolutely. But that was very good, and plenty more Farnborough content to follow.
Yeah, absolutely, coming up in the coming weeks. We're going to take, however, a very quick break from Farnborough next week, because we're actually going to play out something from Seething, aren't we, just as a bit of a teaser.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Yes, we've got an interview from there that we're going to play out next week instead, just to sort of ring the changes a bit.
So up next then on the show, we have got what everyone's been waiting for. Especially you, Mr. Warner. I know you're listening, Jonathan. It's a military segment, so I suppose if you're ready, Nev.
I am. Yes.
Yeah, Matt.
Yes,
are you ready?
Born ready. I don't know why I never had any trouble getting this one ready. It's always the one at the top of the show because there's so much going on.
That's what she said. So the first news story on the military segment this week, and the Russians have been at it again.
Oh dear, here we go.
So this week then, the Royal Air Force Typhoons have been scrambled again to investigate a Russian aircraft over the Romanian Black Sea.
Oh
so
dear.
on Tuesday this week, 2 Royal Air Force Typhoons based in Romania were launched in response to 2 suspected Russian Su-30 flanker aircraft operating near NATO airspace over the Black Sea. Launching from Romanian, I hope I pronounced this correctly, Mihail Kogaliniceanu Air Base. Probably completely got that wrong.
Wow.
Near Constanta on the Black Sea coast, the Royal Air Force Typhoons responded to the aircraft, which were heading south towards NATO airspace from Crimea. The Russian fighter aircraft were repeating the recently seen activity in the air and were monitored by 2 Typhoons from the 135th Expeditionary Air Wing. The Royal Air Force Typhoons were operating in accordance with the NATO Enhanced Air Policing, or EAP, mission, whereby the RAF operates alongside its NATO ally to deter Russian aggression, reassure Romania and assure NATO allies of the UK commitment to collective defence. And they had a statement actually from one of the pilots here who flew, and he said that we were monitoring the activity from the ops room as the scramble was called. Everything went as planned, with both of us launching and heading east towards the 2 contacts. We had radar contact and shadowed the 2 aircraft as they flew through Romanian flight information region, but we never got to within visual range to see them, he said. It was a successful operational mission, and we achieved exactly what the UK Typhoons from 1 fighter squadron are expected to do as part of the 135th Air Wing and the NATO Enhanced Policing Mission. And that was one of the pilots who flew that particular thing. But it's obviously... They keep having a little dabble every now and again, don't they? Russians, they do like to.
I presume it's not. I presume it's not just our coastline that they're flirting with on a regular basis.
Well, this is the Romanian sort of kind of side of things,
right? So. But I suppose NATO airspace rather than ours specifically. Yeah. It's What are they up to, Neve?
Oh, sorry, I was too busy with the chat room.
Right. Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay.
Splendid. Okay, we'll move on then. So this is the next.
Tuned down.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
This one is on. What's this one on?
It's on thedrive.com. The Drive, and it says the war zone. USAF F-35A ends up nose down on the tarmac at Eglin AFB after in-flight emergency. What?
Air Force Base.
Oh, Air Force Base.
Yeah,
okay,
AFB.
come on. AFB sounds so much cooler.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, sorry.
This one's got
unfortunately
pictures.
no picture.
It has a bit further down, but we'll get the story done. Then you can
okay, all right. Okay, so US Air Force F-35A Joint Strike Fighter from the 33rd Fighter Wing at Eglin Air Force Base has made an emergency landing at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. Though there are still limited details about what happened, the stealthy fighter apparently suffered an issue in flight, and its nose gear collapsed after it touched down and had parked. The mishap occurred at around about 12:50 local time at Eglin, according to an official press release from the 33rd. The plane, sitting nose down on the tarmac, was visible from a highway outside the base. The wing oversees US Air Force, Navy and Marine Corps Joint Strike Fighter pilot training, and the Florida base also hosts foreign F-35 pilot training contingents. The aircraft landed safely and parked when the front nose gear collapsed. There was one person... sorry, hello.
Can we see a picture of you, Matt?
No, it's overrated. Absolutely. Indeed, the aircraft landed safely and parked when the front nose gear collapsed. There was one person on board, the 33rd press release added. Fire crews responded immediately, and the pilot suffered no injuries as a result of the incident. Photographs showed a crash truck positioned near the F-35, but it's not clear whether or not the in-flight emergency, IFE, actually involved a fire. Deploying a fire truck is a standard response during tactical jet IFE recoveries, regardless of indications of a fire on board the stricken jet. But it's also worth noting that the F-35s have experienced engine fires in the past. In 2014, another Air Force F-35A at Eglin suffered a catastrophic blade release. Wow, what's one of those? In its F-135 engine right before takeoff, which led to a massive fire. In 2016, a faulty bracket inside the weapons bay of a US Marine Corps F-35B led to another fire that totaled the aircraft. That same year, a huge gust of wind led to yet another engine fire in an F-35A at Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho. There are also reports that a second F-35 may have suffered a bird strike that caused physical damage to the outside of the aircraft, although they are unconfirmed at this time. It's not clear exactly how much damage has been done to the F-35 photographed resting on its nose, but some of the jet's most complex and sensitive electronics are housed in the nose, including its APG-81 AESA radar and its electro-optical targeting system, EOTS. The enclosure for the latter system is positioned underneath the nose, which would increase the likelihood of it getting damaged in such an incident as this. We will continue to update you on the story as more information becomes available. So you're saying there were some pictures?
Yeah, there was one there that's been posted on, I think there's a Facebook post actually by the Air Force.
Can't find it.
It's is it
this?
That's the little one there.
Is that little? Yeah, it's not a very good picture. It's not very good quality, but it gives you an idea of what it is that we're referring to. Somebody's put turned it into a meme by the look of it, but there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
brace yourself. Yes, indeed. Yes.
It's having a bit of
It's having a lie down,
a nose down.
It's very tired. Very tired. Yeah,
It's very tired, bless it, yeah.
Indeed.
And good comment there in the chat room, by the way, Mariana.
Yes.
I did listen when Matt said that it did kind of ring in my ear.
What?
Marine Corps.
Oh, why? What should I have said?
You said corpse.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's okay. It's
unusual for
happens.
Carlos to pick up.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, I
Dave.
can say. Yeah, absolutely.
The correct use of English language or
yes,
grammar.
you absolutely.
I excelled at English. I have you know.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No. I see your Facebook post. No, you didn't.
It's spelling.
Yes,
Matt.
ladies
Spelling.
and gentlemen, you have. It's not spelling. It's grammar. It's punctuation. No, it's
Spelling.
not.
No, spelling. I excelled in.
Dude, you have no idea how many times me and Nev at some point usually sit down. Every time you post something, either me or Nev has to adjust something. Is that not correct, Nev?
Well, yes, it is.
And Glenn Taylor's just put in the chat room, it's IFC, not IFE.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, in my defence, in the story, it does say IFE.
Does. Yeah, in-flight entertainment, yeah.
And I don't know anything about aircraft, so it's quite right that I always get these things wrong. So anyway, for a change, I'm being told off for my spelling and pronunciation. There we are.
Next story, Nev. Next.
Well, this is a subject which I think Matt does know a lot about, because this is all about IT and video and transmission, all this sort of business.
Never heard of it.
Really interesting here, because on the global.com website, it says that Northrop Grumman and the Defence Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, demonstrate the ability to wirelessly transmit 100 gigabits per second over a distance of 20 kilometers to 12.4 miles, an improvement in two-way data links that the company claims could enable powerful airborne sensors to provide on-the-ground military personnel with nearly real-time intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance updates. The two-way data link, which featured active pointing and tracking, was demonstrated on the 19th of January this year between two ground stations in Los Angeles as part of DARPA's 100 gigabit RF backbone program, according to Northrop Grumman, who announced the test on the 22nd of August. The data rate is fast enough to download a 50 gigabyte Blu-ray video in 4 seconds. The transmission was not encrypted, said Northrop Grumman. So this dramatic improvement in data transmission performance could significantly increase the volume of airborne sensor data that can be gathered and reduce the time needed to exploit sensor data, says Louis Christian, director of Northrop Grumman's Research and Technology. Next generation sensors, such as hyperspectral images, typically collect data faster and in larger quantity than most air-to-ground data links can comfortably transmit. Without such a high data rate, link data would need to be reviewed and analyzed after the aircraft lands. So that's incredible, isn't it? Just hard to believe the sort of data rates they're talking about. That we don't even think about what that might be, but that is really going some. So that's going to enable them to do sort of real-time surveillance on things.
Can we get this for outside broadcast?
yeah, absolutely.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yes.
Well, to be fair, there was nothing wrong with our connection at Seething. To be fair, it's only because the data package didn't automatically roll from one into the other is why we were briefly interrupted. But there we are. Never mind. It meant for some challenging editing afterwards.
Looked good though.
Indeed, yeah. But this is. I mean, 100 gigabits is 100 gigabits per second over a distance of 20 kilometers is eye-watering, isn't it? I mean, we're really getting into a sort of an exciting time as far as data transfer is concerned. I think US listeners, apologies for this, but there's an amazing program here in the UK called QI, and I think they were talking about one of the government agencies where it's got obscene, the UK government agencies, there's obscene amount of data that has to be transferred from one site to the other, and they were sort of basically saying, how do they do it? And they were basically saying that they do it by the Royal Mail, purely and simply because it's much easier and much faster to put huge volumes of data onto a hard drive, post it to where you want it to end up, and then upload it, rather than using broadband speeds or the connection speeds that you can get, because it's just faster to do it and send it by Royal Mail than it is to sort of send it over the air, as they say. So, but you're getting into this sort of area, 100 gigabits per second. I mean, that's sort of sci-fi stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. So our last story then for the segment is a feel-good story. This one, bit of niceness.
We'll see if, mind you, every time we've had a feel-good story, I've found a way of spoiling it. So we'll see how we get on today, shall we?
So this one is on the forces.net website, and I think this is awesome. This is really, really awesome. So the headline on here is 96-year-old Royal Air Force veteran takes to the skies in surprise trip. So Bernard Rye piloted even Louis Mountbatten, the first Earl Mountbatten of Burma, during his time in Rhodesia. The 96-year-old Royal Air Force hero took to the skies again almost 75 years after he last piloted an aircraft during the war. Former airman Bernard Rye thought his flying days were over until staff from his Bupa care home arranged a surprise trip as part of a wish-granting program. Mr. Rye, with a volunteer pilot at the controls, took a 30-minute flight aboard a Piper PA Cherokee 6 over Dorset and the Isle of Wight, accompanied by his son. Mr. Rye joined the Royal Air Force in 1940 and toured the world in a Tiger Moth and an Avro York plane. He even piloted Louis Mountbatten, as I said, during his time in Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe. Mr. Rye talked about his experience in the Royal Air Force and said that he had a thoroughly good time while he was in the RAF and got to see everywhere from South America to Australia and the Middle East. He was nominated for the flying experience by Zoe McCarthy, activities lead at the care home, as part of their #NeverTooLate campaign. The campaign is being run across the group's care homes to help residents live life to the full while ticking off their bucket list. Ms. McCarthy explained that everyone's got ambitions that they'd like to achieve, and being in a care home shouldn't get in the way. And the accountant by trade, his mathematical skills were put to use in his roles as a pilot, Mr. Rye was, and he was a navigator, which involved calculating flight routes under severely testing conditions. Following the war, Mr. Rye left the RAF and returned to his career in accountancy, working for a chemical company. It was here that he met his late wife Josephine in 1955. Following a short courtship, they married a year later in a ceremony at All Saints Church in Woodford Green. The pair had 3 sons, Howard, Jonathan, Edward and Matthew Shearing. Today, Bernard has 10 grandchildren and 6 great-grandchildren. And in 1969, the couple moved to Poole in Dorset, where Bernard took up a new job in finance at a local company and has lived in the area ever since moving to the care home in 2013. There's some pictures that Matt was putting on the screen there while I was reading the story there. But I love these stories. You know, when you get these obviously retired and Air Force pilots from the war and stuff, and they get this chance to go up in the air again, even albeit a Piper. But
nothing wrong with a Piper. Nothing wrong with a Piper at all.
What do you think of this, Nev? It's a bit nice, isn't it?
Oh, great story, isn't it? And it's really nice to see the opportunity for these gentlemen to experience all that nice stuff all over again. It's absolutely superb. And actually, the upholstery in that aircraft looked very nice. Leather on the seats there as well.
Well cared for. Yes.
It looked very comfortable.
Very well cared for.
It did, yeah. What a lovely story to end on.
Yeah. So that's where we bring the military segment of the show to a close. So we are going to start to wrap up the show. Okay. But before we do, obviously we've got the contact bits for us for the show. So where are they going to contact us? And also we're looking for some audio feedback. So if anyone's listening, send us some audio feedback. We'd love to hear what you guys
love to hear from our listeners, wouldn't we? Absolutely, yeah. So if you want to do that, please, by all means, several ways of doing it. You could send us a voice message via Facebook. So take yourself to facebook.com/Plain Talking UK and you will find our page. You can send us a message or an audio thing in the Messenger app that's within there. You can take yourself to Twitter, so search Twitter for our Twitter handle, which is @PlainTalkingUK. Email address is podcast@plaintalkinguk.com, and of course the website is www.plaintalkinguk.com.
And that is where you can obviously find the link as well to grab yourselves a PTUK t-shirt. Yes, we have t-shirts. We're going to put an order in soon for some more because we are getting low on stock.
Dear.
So if you want to grab yourself a PTUK t-shirt, don't forget to take yourselves over to the website. The link is on there. Just click on there.
There are some mugs available. If people are interested in a mug, if they let me know, We do actually have some mugs that we can.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, we do. Yes, but I'm reluctant to place the order until we've got an order for mugs. If you see what I mean. So so if you would like a mug, I'll tell you what. I'll do a thing on the page because I've got to do some updating because Nev sent me an updated biog that I need to adjust on the website. So maybe
and you've also got to do the website for my business as well.
Oh dear, right? Yes, indeed.
Just one other thing before we go.
Yes.
Tomorrow I'm off to Oxford. I'm doing a video interview with Dr. Bo Abrahamson, and you'll see him in the chat room very often. And he happens to be in Oxford for 2 or 3 days. So I said, well, it's only half an hour down the road for me. So as long as the weather behaves itself, which I think it might do by tomorrow, I'm going to take the camera and mic and everything down there. And I'll do an interview with Bo, and we'll play that out at a future time.
Yeah, maybe even next week. Who knows? Yes, by all means. By the way, volunteer yourself for a Nev's passenger experience, and then do that via, because we all see the podcast at planetalkinguk.com email address. So
the
if
mug
you want
thing's going down well, Matt.
Is it?
So I think you better start to get prepared.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Neil Landward said he'll have a mug, and Andy Wilson, who we all know, has said that he wants a mug with Nev's face on.
Right. Okay.
Yes, he's saying that now. But, if we receive one, I don't think we'd be
I was just going to go with like our logo and stuff, like what I've got. No, I've got the old ones here. Have you got one?
I've got a new one.
Yeah, go get the new. We do actually have some here. It's
Dr. Steph said she'll have one.
Oh, excellent. Okay, all right. We've got to work out how much they're going to be and stuff. But anyway, I had some made. I had some testers made. So if you would be interested, this is the Plain Talking UK podcast mug that I had made. I mean, it's quite a cool mug, actually. To be fair, it is quite a cool mug.
And I can confirm that there is one of these, right, at Heathrow Control Tower.
Is there?
Yes.
Oh, did you leave one behind?
Adam Spink has actually got one of these.
Has he?
So,
right. Is that why we've only got one here? Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. I did wonder why I stopped having my D in it. Yeah. But yes. So we'll have to. I'll get some organised, and we'll get some on the way. So yeah. If you are interested in a mug, then just send us an email, podcast@planetalkinguk.com, and I will work out how much they're going to cost and get back to you.
Yeah. So we're going to say a massive thank you then to everyone who has joined us in the live chat room this evening. Loads of people tonight. It's been a really full and busy chat room, and great to see everyone in there. And thanks for taking time out of your Friday to join us.
Indeed.
Next week on Friday, I am not going to be here. I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of Nev.
Ooh.
And
that's fair enough. Yeah.
and Matt as well.
Yeah,
and Matt
absolutely.
as well. So they're going to be doing the show without me. I've got to go and do a wedding next Friday.
Have you?
Yes, in a nice little barn in the countryside.
Oh, Nev, you and I are in charge next week. This could be fun.
Well, yes, we'll see how that goes, shall we?
Yeah, indeed. We'll have lots of content lined up just to sort of play out. We're not going to say anything, are we, Nev? We're just going to play videos all night.
Play out 2 hours of stuff. Yeah.
I'm going to try and watch the show.
You'll come back and there'll be literally no content left to play out because we're never going to play it all next week. That's what we've decided.
Oh, you lazy
how rude.
boogers you.
Yeah, indeed, yes.
Oh, so, yes. Oh, hello, Myla. Myla's in the chat room. Hello, good to see you there, Myla.
Yes.
Hello, greetings.
Yes.
But no, I'm not going to be here next week, so I will leave you in the capable hands of Nev and Matt for next week. But I'm sure it'll be a fantastic show.
Well, I admire your confidence in us, frankly, yes.
No, it's not my wedding, Micah. It's another one of the many weddings that I've done this year.
Mrs. Nev wouldn't do it again.
Mrs.
Nev? No, not Mrs. Nev.
2018 is definitely the wedding year, I think.
Absolutely.
All I've done this year is wedding discos.
Yeah.
But
some people are so ungrateful for business, aren't they?
Well, I would have you work for me, but you never want to work for me. No, he doesn't want to do it. Anyway, so moving swiftly on, we are going to wrap up episode 331.
331. Wow.
231 of the show. Oh, God, blimey, it's all gone to pot.
We wouldn't last that long. Yeah.
231 of the show. And again, like I said, thanks for everyone for joining us. And also a big thanks to you, Nev, for joining us this evening.
And actually, my personal thanks to Nev just in general, really, because people have no idea how hard that guy works behind the scenes for us and does so much for us. We are very, very honoured to have him as part of our team. So
it's very nice. And it's a great pleasure doing it. I get a lot of pleasure about shooting all this stuff, putting it together, and letting our viewers and listeners
it's brilliant, isn't it?
see and hear it.
Yes, I love our playout system. It's only Carlos that can't get it to work properly.
I'm sure you jinxed it that week.
yeah.
Literally.
It was lovely to come back and discover that I've been so missed. It's like it was so missed. I had to come back like the following day to do it again. But anyway, there we are. Anyway, we really should go. Let's let these lovely people get back to their Friday evening.
So that is where we bring episode 231 to a close. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great weekend, whatever you're doing, and take care and fly safe. So from me, Carlos, it's goodbye.
And from the rest of us here in the studio, he can't find the right button. That's why he's having to stall. Everybody's going. Yeah, absolutely. It's gone. Oh no, there they are. I found them. I found the credits, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, because there are many people here who have a